Okay, give me a second, because this is not what I was expecting. And I pulled these cards to open this reading, and what came out immediately, before I have said a single word about Lion's Gate, before I have talked about the portal or any of it, is a warning, not a gentle one. Okay, Lion's Gate opens tomorrow, August 8th. You have today. The fact that you found this today, the day before the portal opens, is not an accident. That is not how these things work. So, the door is open. That part is true. But what these cards just showed me is that there are people in your life right now who are going to try to walk through it with you, who are going to position themselves close enough to your energy, close enough to your movement, close enough to whatever is opening for you, that when the portal activates, they can ride what you built into a door that was never opened for them. And I need to tell you specifically who that is and how to recognize it before tomorrow. Because by the end of this reading, you are going to know exactly what determines who gets through this portal and who does not. And it is not what most people are telling you. Stay with me. Because these cards went somewhere I was not prepared for. And I think that is exactly why you are here. I need to start with what just landed because I cannot move past it. What the cards are showing me is a sensation. And I want to describe it precisely because I think you have been feeling this and not knowing what to call it. It is the feeling of moving forward while something behind you keeps finding ways to create drag. Not stopping you, not confronting you directly, just drag, a subtle, persistent resistance that makes every step require slightly more energy than it should. Like walking through water instead of air, you are still moving. You are still showing up. But there is a tiredness underneath it that does not match what you are actually doing, because part of your energy is constantly being consumed by something you cannot fully see. That is what these cards opened on. Okay. And the reason I need to name it before anything else is that Lion's Gate, the portal that opens tomorrow, August 8th, is specifically powerful for people who can identify and release that drag before the door opens, not after, before. Because what you carry through the portal is what gets amplified on the other side, which means what is creating the drag matters enormously right now. And what these cards are telling me is that the drag has a source, and the source is closer than you have wanted to believe. Okay, let me tell you what Lion's Gate actually is, the simple version. Every year on August 8th, the Earth, the star Sirius, and the Orion constellation align in a specific formation. Sirius, which ancient civilizations considered one of the most spiritually significant stars in the sky, rises and becomes visible just before dawn. And that alignment, that very specific positioning, creates what astrologers and spiritual teachers call a portal. A window where certain kinds of energy move more freely, where intentions land differently, where what you are genuinely aligned with gets pulled toward you more easily than at almost any other point in the year. That is Lion's Gate. And here is the thing that matters for this reading specifically. The portal does not check your intentions. It amplifies your alignment, which means it does not ask what you want. It asks what you actually are right now, what you are genuinely moving toward, what you are authentically carrying, what is real in you versus what you have been performing. And it accelerates that, whatever that is, which is why the not for everyone part of this reading is not about worthiness. It is not about some people being chosen and others being left behind. It is about something much more specific than that. And I am going to tell you exactly what it is But I need to tell you something first about who is trying to get through this door alongside you, because the cards have not let me move past it. And I am starting to understand why. And there is a group energy in this reading, not one person, a few people, maybe two, maybe three, maybe a dynamic that involves several people operating with similar energy, even if they do not know each other. And what connects them is not malice. I want to say that clearly because what I am getting from this group is not the energy of someone who is deliberately set out to harm you. What connects them is dependency. Okay, so, and I want to give you two specific things to look for so you can identify them before tomorrow, because they will not announce themselves. The first tell is timing. These people reach out most when you are moving, when you are excited about something, when momentum is building, when something good is happening. That is when they appear. Not to celebrate with you, to be near the energy. There is a difference, and you will feel it if you look for it. The second tell is direction. When you share something you are building or moving toward, their response redirects back to themselves. Not aggressively, naturally, almost without noticing. But the conversation consistently ends up being about them, about their situation, about what they need, about how your thing relates to their thing. The focus never stays on you for long. And these are people who have positioned themselves in your life in a way that relies on your energy to keep their own movement going. They are not generating their own momentum right now. They are adjacent to yours. And the arrangement, the one they may not even be fully conscious of, is that your forward movement creates enough energy for them to feel like they are also moving. They are not. They are being carried. Okay, and here is why Lionsgate surfaces this specifically. When a portal opens and energy begins to accelerate, when the alignment activates and what is genuine gets amplified, the people who are running on borrowed momentum suddenly need to borrow more, because the acceleration exposes the gap between what they are genuinely building and what they have been riding. So, they get closer. Right before tomorrow or right around it, not consciously, but you may notice it. An unusual amount of contact, more presence than usual, a sudden increase in how much they need from you, your time, your attention, your reassurance, your energy, your opinion on things that do not require your opinion. It will not feel threatening. It will feel like people who love you wanting to be near you. And that is exactly why I needed to name it before the portal opens. Because what gets carried through Lionsgate with you matters for months after tomorrow. And carrying someone else's unprocessed dependency through a portal that was opened by your alignment is not generosity. It is how the drag gets amplified instead of released. And now, I told you I would tell you who is not getting through this portal and what actually determines it. Here it is. Wait. What Lionsgate cannot carry through is anything that requires your uncertainty to survive. Read that again. Anything. Any relationship, any dynamic, any self-concept, any arrangement that requires you to be less certain than you actually are in order to keep functioning. Anything that needs your doubt as an operating condition. Anything that loses its logic the moment you trust what you actually know. That is what does not get through. So, not because the portal judges it, because the portal amplifies alignment, and anything built on your misalignment, on the distance between who you actually are and who you have been performing, gets exposed in that amplification. Not destroyed, exposed, shown for what it actually is without the cover of your uncertainty making it look like something else. For some of you, this is about the group I just described. The people running on your borrowed momentum. When Lionsgate amplifies your genuine alignment, the gap between what they have been claiming and what they are actually building becomes visible to you, to others around you, to them. For others, it is something inside you. A story you have been telling yourself about what you are capable of, what you deserve, what is realistic for your life. A self-concept that was given to you by someone else and has been running as if it were your own ever since. That story, that borrowed self-concept, does not get through the portal either. Okay, the door is open, but it is open for the version of you that is genuinely aligned. Not the performance, not the adjusted, contracted, made herself smaller version, the actual one. And here is the choice this reading is asking you to make before tomorrow arrives. Because these cards have been pointing at something from the moment they landed. And I think you already know what it is. I think part of you has known for a while. You already know who in your life is carrying their own weight and who has been riding yours. You already know which relationships leave you with more energy than you started with, and which ones leave you consistently depleted for reasons you cannot fully explain. You already know which parts of your life are genuinely yours and which ones you have been maintaining for other people's comfort, you know? And the question the portal is asking, the only question that matters before tomorrow is not what to do about it. You already know what needs to shift. The question is whether you are going to walk through this door carrying that knowing, or whether you are going to set it back down one more time. Because acting on it feels like too much right now. And I want to say something about that, about the setting it back down. Every time you have set it down before, every time you talked yourself out of what you knew, you did not lose it. It is still there. It has always been there, but every time you carry it through a door and then set it back down, the next version of the door asks the same question, and the asking is heavier each time. Lion's Gate is asking it now. Okay, so this is not a dramatic decision. It does not require a confrontation or an announcement or anything that looks significant from the outside. What it requires is for you to stop feeding with your time, your attention, your energy, the things that have been running on borrowed power. Quietly, internally, before the portal opens. What you stop feeding loses energy before you ever say a word. What is genuinely yours gets to walk through clean. Now, I want to tell you something about what is on the other side of this portal, for you specifically. Because I think you have been so focused on whether you are doing the right things, whether you are aligned enough, ready enough, spiritually prepared enough for Lion's Gate, that you have not let yourself fully look at what has been waiting. Stop doing that. Okay. What is on the other side is not contingent on your preparation. It is not waiting for you to become worthy of it. It has been building toward you with the same momentum you have been building toward it. And the only thing that has been slowing the arrival is the drag, the borrowed dependency, the crowd of people and arrangements and self-concepts that have been consuming the energy that was supposed to be moving you forward. Release the drag, walk through the door clean. That is the whole instruction. What is on the other side will do the rest. And I am getting something very specific right now, and I want to say it carefully because it is landing precisely. There is something you stopped letting yourself want. Not recently, a while ago. You made a decision, probably quietly and probably without fully realizing you were making it, to put a specific want down, to stop reaching for it. Because reaching for it while carrying everything you've been carrying felt like too much. Like trying to hold too many things at once. And the want was the one that felt most optional, most vulnerable, most like the thing that would cost you the most if it did not work out. You set it down. Wait. Lion's Gate is asking you to pick it back up. Not because everything is perfect now, not because the drag is fully released yet, but because the portal does not require perfect conditions. It requires genuine alignment. And what you put down, what you stopped letting yourself want, is the most aligned thing in your life right now, the most genuinely yours. The thing that has survived the drag, the group dependency, the uncertainty, the performance, and is still there. Still intact, still waiting. Pick it up today, before midnight. Walk through the portal, carrying it, the specific thing you stopped letting yourself want. Not a general idea of something better. That exact thing. The one that surfaces when you get quiet enough to hear it. That is how this door opens for you. And not for the people who have been riding your momentum. And one thing I want to say about the days immediately after Lion's Gate. Because most people treat August 8th like the end of the window. And it is not. The portal does not close when the date changes. What closes is the opening phase. What begins the morning after, August 9th, is the consequence phase, when what you walked through the door carrying starts becoming visible in your life. And that visibility arrives quietly. One thing that suddenly moves more easily, one door that has been stuck that is suddenly less stuck. One person who has been distant, who suddenly makes contact in a way that feels different from before. Do not miss these moments because they do not look like what you expected. Okay. The consequence of walking through Lion's Gate clean is rarely dramatic on August 9th. It is usually one small, specific, unmissable thing that arrives and tells you, quietly, privately, with no audience, that something has changed. Pay attention to the quiet thing. That is the door confirming you walked through it. My personal readings are open right now. If what I have described about the drag, the group energy, the thing you put down, if any of that is specific enough that you know exactly what I am pointing at, come find me. The link is in the description. In a session, I can look at your natal chart and show you where Lion's Gate is landing in your specific placements. Which houses, which planets, what this portal is specifically opening for you that is different from everyone else watching this video. Because Lion's Gate lands differently depending on your chart. And knowing where it is landing for you personally changes how you walk through it. Come find me there and drop in the comments. Tell me this is yours. Tell me what you already know you need to stop feeding before you walk through this portal. Because I want to know who is walking through this door clean. I will see you in the next one.